Well, tonight is the night that we measure all time again. Everything that happened yesterday is before Christ, and everything that happens tomorrow is after Him. Tonight we are living in the eternal now of God's coming among us. His name is Emmanuel, the God who is with us, who is made out of the same stuff we are, and who is made out of the same stuff God is, and who will not let go of either. That's the main thing that we are waiting for tonight, isn't it? For that baby's cry. But that's not the only thing, because most of us are waiting for more than one thing, and they are not all the same thing. For instance, I believe someone here is waiting to find out what is inside that large, flat box propped against the wall of the Christmas tree. And someone else is looking forward to waking up in a house in which all the beds are full once again, with children and grandchildren who have come home for the holidays. Some of you have a new baby at your house, which means you are waiting for that first Christmas morning when you wake up in your own live nativity scene. And I know others of you for whom this is a hard time of the year. There is that empty chair to deal with, that stocking that stays folded in the box. All the rituals that were designed for two or more are now up to you alone, and, well, frankly, that's like the sound of one hand clapping. Christmas is the season when you wait to see if the hurt has let up any since at this time last year, and you want it to, so you can get on with life, and you don't want it to because you're afraid that might mean you have stopped caring. Meanwhile, the memories rise up to meet you, swamping you with a melancholy so sweet you can almost taste it in the back of your throat. So for good or ill, every Christmas Eve functions like a kind of time machine for us, taking us back to every other Christmas Eve we had spent on this earth. For some, it is a reminder of the way life used to be, back when we were on the front row of the holiday show and not the stage managers of it. Christmas was the smell of pine and oranges stuck with cloves, the taste of roast turkey and peppermint. It's mom and dad sitting around in their bathrobes sipping coffee while the kids chase the new puppy through a sea of wrapping paper. For others, this night is a reminder of the way life should have been but never was. Those who have looked all their lives through each other's people's windows at such scenes of revelry and domestic bliss. Everyone is supposed to go home for Christmas, right? Only where is that exactly? Some of us know, and some of us are still trying to find out, but tonight the answer is right here. This is our home tonight, and we are all inside. This is our Bethlehem, where we have hauled the hopes and fears of all the years to lay them in front of a manger. No wonder this place seems to be humming. It's full of all our Christmas dreams and memories, all our best wishes for ourselves and for others, including our ideas about what our lives should be like once God has been born into them. And if you're not sure what your ideas are, you can generally get some clues by looking at the Christmas cards that you've either sent out or received. What kinds of images are on them? What kinds of words? Unless you or your friends have really strange taste in Christmas cards. Chances are that peace and joy and love and hope are on a whole lot of them, along with pictures that embody those words. And if you are lucky, you actually got to walk around in some of those pictures this season. You got to experience some peace, some joy, some love, some hope. Maybe enough to wonder why you don't walk around in them more often. However different our Christmases may be, and how different our Christmases have been, one longing most people have in common this time of year is the longing for a calmer, purer, more centered life. As if it could be being transported to God's presence for as long as possible to a place just like this, where everything is beautiful and focused and right, just like a Christmas card. You know what? Even the pictures on our Christmas cards are only moments in time. If you could see past the edges, we would probably see some pretty familiar sights. I have one card in my office of a cozy little cabin that's snuggled in some snowy woods with one set of tire tracks running up to the door. But I bet the lot next door has been clear cut to make way for a subdivision, and that there's at least one rusted out refrigerator in the woods. Now, I'm not trying to dampen Christmas. What I mean is, even the very best, even the very most sentimental pictures of Emmanuel and his family, the ones where the artists have really focused on the softness of the baby's skin, the outstretched arms, the warm bodies of the animals standing around him, heating the air with their breath. Some of whom might even have licked him if Joseph and Mary had not been standing in the way. Bending over this baby as if they were protecting God himself. Oh, but wait. Now, you know it by heart, and you'll hear it again in a minute, but you know enough of the backstory, how the whole town was clogged with travelers, none of whom were there by choice. The emperor had wanted them all counted and taxed, and he could have cared less where they slept or where they did not sleep. That was their problem, not his. Still, you have to wonder what happened to Joseph's family. If Bethlehem was his hometown, then why didn't his own people take them in? I don't know, but they didn't. So Joseph and Mary got a stall instead of a room, which was not as bad as we sometimes make it out to be, but still not ideal. We know they got a feed trough because that's where they laid their treasure. And that is when the picture was taken. You know, right then while the star was still overhead and the angels were still singing in the rafters. But 20 minutes later, what? The hole in the heavens had closed up. The only music came from the bar in the inn. One of the cows stepped on a chicken, and the resulting racket made the baby cry. As she leaned over to pick him up, Mary started crying too. When Joseph tried to comfort her, she told him she wanted her mother. If she had just married a nice boy from Nazareth, she said, she would be back home where she belonged instead of competing with sheep for a place to sleep. And she said she was sorry, and Joseph said not to think another thing about it. And he meant it too. They both hurt all over, and there was nothing to eat, and it was cold as the dickens. But you know what? God was still there, right in the middle of that picture. Peace was there. Joy was there. Love was there. Not only in the best of times, but also and especially in the worst of times. Because it's during those times there could be no mistake about who was responsible. It was God with us. Not the God up there somewhere who answers our prayers by lifting us out of our lives, but the God who comes to us in the midst of us. However far from home we are, however less than ideal our circumstances in life, however much or little our lives reflect the Christmas cards we get. That is where God is born. Just there, in any cradle we will offer him, on any pile of straw that we can pat together with our hand. Any of us who have prayed to be transported into God's presence this Christmas will get our wish. Only not perhaps in the way we thought. None of heaven's escalators are going up tonight. Everybody up there is coming down tonight, right here. Right into our own Bethlehem, bringing us the God who has decided to make his home in our arms.